Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside of Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Audience members, you are so lucky. Helle Brodie is here, and I think she's the most amazing person. She specializes in helping us find freedom. We are hitting the digital age of business. And I know that she is the go-to person for you to find the difference between and combining financial, time, and personal freedom. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It's an honor to be here with you today.
So I wanted to just go right into someone thinking of going into business for themselves, and they want to have an idea of even what to start with, besides booking a call with you, of course. Do you have some tips on how anyone, and let's go with like a beginner entrepreneur, someone who doesn't quite understand what that entails? What would they do?
Right. Well, first of all, if they don't have any idea what it entails, they probably have a few surprises coming to them. So being an entrepreneur, we look at successful entrepreneurs and a lot of people think, oh, they've got life so easy, they can do what they want when they want, they've got all the money in the world, um, and they can live life whatever way they want. And to be honest, when I started my first business 37 years ago, that's what I thought. I started when my son was born, and that's exactly what I thought. Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I can raise him the way I want. I'm going to be around. There's going to be lots of money. Um, it didn't take long for me to figure out that that's not the way things work. And the dream doesn't die, right? The dream stays with us. And so the first thing to realize is that you can get to that point, and you have to have a good work ethic along the way.
That's key, that work ethic.
Yeah.
Well, before the work ethic, besides self-care, which I talk a lot about in previous episodes, Helle, how does one even understand if they have something to go into business for?
Well, that's a great question. So, you have to do some market research, see if is there a need for it. Most of the time you can get a fairly good idea just by finding out, is there anybody else doing it?
Mm.
Now, you likely have a different take on how to do that, how to deliver. A lot of people go into business based on um, their current career, right? So they've been doing the work for quite a few years, and they want to do it a little differently. So they understand the work that has to happen. They just don't understand what it's like to be the entrepreneur and how to run the business. So if that's not the case, have a look in the marketplace. Is it something that uh, is already out there in some form? And if it's not, I'd say you got to do some market research, talk to people, find out if there's interest in that sort of a product or service, right?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, for me, when I started thinking about Dance to Heal, that was about 3 years ago. And only the last year have I been able to find communities that even understood what that is. Prior to that, I had mentors saying, I don't get what you're doing. I don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand. And now I'm like, if I only trusted my gut, though, if I only trusted my gut, I could be in a different place. Does that make sense? Because um, it that work ethic I think is really key to understanding. What do you mean by work ethic before I ask you to answer? What do you mean by do market research? Because I did not understand that for the first 2 years.
Sorry, what market research was?
Yeah, that and before that, what do you mean by work ethic?
Okay, so work ethic.
Mhm.
Work ethic is it's not working 24/7. because when you work 24/7 and you burn out. I know that. I've done it. I did that in my previous business.
Mhm.
And so there's a fine line between a work ethic and working 24/7. When you're working 24/7, quite often it's a badge of honor that you can work that long and that hard. Well, that's not what we're looking for.
Mhm.
Having a work ethic means really focusing on things that really matter. There's a lot of busyness that happens in our world. It's when we feel busy, we feel like we're being productive. And the question are we really doing something that's valuable, that's moving our business forward, that's helping us to expand?
Mhm.
And so having a work ethic means that you're willing to put in the hours when you need to. I mean, in any business, there are, um, there are unexpected surprises, we'll say.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, you have a deadline to meet or something's happening and you just have to put in some extra time to get it done. So having a work ethic means you're willing to do that and you're going to do that.
I love it.
And it also means, and you mentioned it earlier, self-care.
Mhm.
Because when we don't look after ourselves, we burn out, we get sick, and we're not productive. And then we get stuck in that endless cycle of busy work.
Oh, I love that. I love that distinction. And I'm a part of an app by a coach that gave us some really good advice that ties in nicely everything you're saying. So I've started to shift more into the joy of missing out versus the fear of missing out in my business, right? When I first started, it was sign up for this, sign up for that. Oh, I'm going to miss out if I don't sign up for this now. And it's more, oh, wait a minute, Jenny. First of all, take a little time to think about it. That's one. Two, what do you get in exchange for you giving your money to them and your time? Because you're the
Right,
one that's offering something, right? There's always a time commitment. That's that work ethic you're talking about, Helle. And
right,
what exactly am I getting out of it? Because I tend to be the team cheerleader. A lot of us are in my audience. We're the first people to suggest something and jump in when it's not for us and
right.
support someone else. And the key now is, what do you get? What is your reciprocal return for putting that in? Correct? Do you have a suggestion for someone who wants to try something? How long we give it before we realize it's a dead end? Is there a time, or there isn't?
Well, there's not specifically a time. I mean, you see some people who start a business and all of a sudden, like it's just boom, they've got a successful business.
Hmm.
Other people, it takes longer. And so it's different for every individual and it's different for every business. And can I just back step just a little bit? You talked about getting involved in this program and this program and this program. Well, that's part of what makes us great entrepreneurs, right? Because we see opportunity everywhere. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, I can really see how I can use this. And so that's one of I mean, and we love to learn, right?
Yes.
And so all of these great offers and these courses, they feed right into that, which is great, and as an entrepreneur, we want to be able to embody that. And as you say, take a breath. How is this going to serve me? What does this mean to my time commitment? Because I mean, you and I both know so many people who are involved in this course and that course and the other course, and all they do is coursework, right? And I mean, I'll be fully transparent. I did a major shift in industries, and so I had a lot of things to learn. So I found myself doing the same thing. Oh, that's great. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, that sounds great. Without doing the research about who is it, what's their expertise, and how do they deliver, right? And so take a breath, and just really think about what you're committing to and how it's going to serve you.
So, audience members, some of you are probably driving and listening to this. I know of at least three people who tell me they listen to my podcast episodes while they're driving long distance. So, earmark in your head this particular episode that you locked onto, and then I want to make sure you access Helle's gift. Now, it is a bit.ly link. So I'm going to spell it out for you. It's bit.ly/BUSGIFT. Buzz gift. Okay. And this allows you to have access to her. This is your entrepreneur's freedom formula, correct, Helle?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So as you're listening to the rest of this interview, if Helle's voice is resonating safety for you and like she's in your corner for your best interest, you want to access her gift, bit.ly/BUSGIFT. Super important. It's free, right? And again, if you're, oh, should I do it? Should not do it? Remember, you can always go to my danceandheal.com class. Do that class if you haven't downloaded it already. And then click on the bit.ly buzz gift. Okay? I got excited and couldn't get my words out. What's when you're on an episode, I've gotten to the point where there's a reason why you're supposed to listen to what we're talking about. We're hitting this huge shift in the industry where it's going to become a multi-billion dollar industry. You don't have to do it full time. You can start a side hustle. A lot of the people you said, oh, well, sometimes it looks like a person starts a business, right, Helle? And then all of a sudden it's overnight success. It looks like overnight success. We don't know behind the scenes
That's
how many
right.
other businesses that person was doing before they finally figured out their particular formula.
That's right. I mean, how many famous people have we heard of that um, tried and tried and tried and tried? You know, you think about Henry Ford, automobiles, right? I mean, everybody, like, what a successful company. Well, I'm not sure how many times he tried different things before people finally started buying into the concept of cars, right? So, I mean, that goes back a ways, and there are so many people who have done the same thing.
Yep, yep. Now, I want you to share, if you're willing, Helle, tell us a a um a a, a story of anything you would like to share that you're willing to go down of when you were able to turn something that looked like it was a fail into something that was a success or a huge learning lesson.
Wow. A story. Okay. Well, why don't I take, it's not do you want a business story or a personal story?
Personal stories usually are a excellent teaching tool versus business because sometimes we start talking about industry and people don't necessarily then we have to explain the business aspect of it. If you tell us a personal story, I think the audience will resonate quicker.
Sure. Well, 3 years ago, I bought a house. I moved to a new community. It's a community that I dreamed of living in. And because I had sold my other business, I could now move. I could live anywhere I wanted. And so I found a house, the house that I'm living in now, and I absolutely loved it. The light was beautiful. It was pretty dated. It needed a lot of upgrades, and that was okay because I'd done renovations before. Everything was good. I found myself a contractor when they were hard to find, and I bought the house. So I on the day of closing, it's in a different community. So I packed up my sleeping bag, and I have an inflatable mattress, and so I was going to go camp out in my new house. And I was meeting with the contractors in the next morning, and they were going to start some of the demolition. Well, I went out for dinner with a friend, rolled out my sleeping bag, my my air mattress. I was all set. I was all excited. I woke up in the morning, I could hardly breathe. It turned out that the woman who lived here prior to me was incontinent. And they had the heat turned down. It was in the winter, so you couldn't smell anything. Well, I turned up the heat because I was going to, sleep there. I couldn't breathe. I pried windows open. This is still in the winter, right?
Oh,
Then I found out there are 4 bathrooms in the house. Only one was functional. All
no.
the plumbing was full of whatever it was full of, right? This is the house I put my dreams into. And this is what I found out within 24 hours of owning the house. Yeah, I turned it around. I had a contractor. He turned out to be great. I didn't know him prior to the renovation. And I turned it into my little dream home, and I absolutely loved it. Did it take a lot of work? Yes. Did it take determination? Yes. Was I disappointed when I found out this and this and this and this and this? There are many other challenges we found along the way, and I was persistent. I hung on to my dream, and I was determined to make it work.
Oh, thank you for that story.
Oh, you're welcome.
You were bringing up memories for me. We bought a house in upstate New York, an old farmhouse, and did not realize until after we moved and lived in it for a while with two 4-year-old twins that they didn't have enough electrical supply. So we blew out the box, what is it, the fuse box within the first week. And then something upstairs shorted out. Excuse me, my dogs are going crazy because the grass moved outside, and so she's alerting us that grass is growing outside.
Very good.
Yeah, she's very good with stuff like that. So then, what happened was we also needed so much renovations because it was an old farmhouse, about 80 years old, and with two adults, two little kids, of course. We quickly found out, similar to what you went through, what needed to be replaced, everything. And then we didn't know what we signed up for, and yet it was this amazing house when we were done with it. So it really is very true what you're saying. We fought hard to make it a loving place, and it was hard to say goodbye to it when we moved out west. But it is what it is. My husband had a job switch, and I was in the middle of my chemotherapy, so we had to change
Right.
locations. I want to end on one other thing because, folks, I want you to know Helle and I know each other from a high-end speaking program, and we've learned a lot about ourselves. And I would love for you to share about the personal journey that one goes through when we begin to go into business for ourselves versus working for other people.
Right. Well, I went into business for myself 37 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of a journey. Although, having said that, my current business is only 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I started off part-time. And it's brought me back to, a part of that journey, right? So what I've discovered is, building a business 37 years ago in a different industry is very different than building a business today, right? So it's actually, as a business coach, it's very, how am I going to put this? It's good for people to know that I've got current experience,
Yes.
right? So it's and in two vastly different areas, industries, right? And so what's it like? Well, there's a lot of personal growth to go through. And in fact, as a business coach, one of the areas that I really specialize in is personal growth. Removing the blocks, the unconscious blocks to our progress. It's a little bit more than mindset. It's a little bit deeper work. And it's usually things that we never would have thought of, right? And so when we're able to clear out some of those blocks, and we all have them, it doesn't, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anyone because there is nothing wrong with you. It's just that you've picked up a few things along the way as you've gone through life, and they've limited your progress and your thinking. And so one of the things to remember is that your conscious mind is the one that sets the goals. Your unconscious mind is the one that goes out and gets the goals. So if you have a block in your unconscious mind, then you're setting these goals and your unconscious mind is saying, nope, nope, nope. And so the whole concept is to bring the two into alignment so that they're both moving in the same direction. So your conscious mind can set the goals and your unconscious mind says, yeah, we can do that. And so that's how you make progress, right? Otherwise, you're self-sabotaging all the time. And so going through that process, second time around, has been absolutely huge. And it's a never-ending journey. And some people say, oh, well, when is it going to end? Well, that's the beauty of life, because when we stop learning and growing, what's the point? So it's fun to see yourself grow and progress. And Jenny, I know like you've come a long way too. I mean, you've been through, quite a different journey. And I'm always in awe of you.
Oh, thank you. I think I want to be really clear. Helle's been very generous in some of her stories. I think that all of us go through our own special set of challenges, and no one ever understands what it's like to be in your shoes, audience. So we want to make sure you understand that we're equipped to help hold space for you, no matter where you are. All right. And specifically, I still remember in my training with my neurolinguistic programming school that is based out in Canada, we are trained to see from someone's perspective, no matter where you stand, even politically. Yeah, it's true, because our goal is to help you be the fullest version of who you're meant to be. I mean, when you were talking about the subconscious and conscious working together, I just brought back my favorite quote from Carl Jung, right? Until you make your unconscious conscious, life will happen to you and you will call it fate. That's my favorite
Absolutely.
thing. It's my favorite because anytime things are happening, I'm like, all right, what's happening? I've had 7 red lights. What what is happening in my subconscious that I'm hitting these 7 red lights in a row? So now I went from being on time to now I'm 10 minutes late. And then I'll be like, all right. And then I'll go back and reset so that I'm early enough that it doesn't matter if I hit 7 or 10 green, red lights. You know what I mean? So I think audience members, if you're listening to this particular episode with Helle Brodie, you need to access her gift at bit.ly/busgift. Okay? Make sure you download the Entrepreneur's Freedom Formula. And even if you're not going into business for yourself right now, it is still an excellent way, right? Helle, to start thinking about what you might want to do because it may serve you maybe 6 months down the line.
Absolutely. Can I add one more thing?
Of course.
So, I mean, we both talked about the conscious and the unconscious mind and getting things into alignment. So in my first business, it took a very long time before I felt comfortable enough to reach out to a coach and actually admit to somebody that this is the way I felt about things. I was I was embarrassed. I mean, they're going to think I'm a fool. How could I actually admit that to somebody? So I kept pretending and pretending and pretending, right? And I worked harder and harder and harder. And like I built a 7-figure business. So I was still able to do it. And when I started working with a coach and started really being honest and authentic about the challenges I was really facing, that's when things started to open up. Because and so I just want to make a point of that because there's a book I picked up recently, And it's a quite a long book. And the main message out of all of that is there's nothing wrong with you. And so when you try and try and try and try, it's natural that you start thinking, oh, there must be something wrong with me. Well, guess what? There is nothing wrong with you. And so it's likely just an unconscious block that you picked up somewhere along the way, and it's not your fault. So I just wanted to add that because that was a huge part of the process for me. And now that, I'm still learning and growing and clearing those unconscious blocks, and life keeps getting better and better. So I just think it's important for everybody to know that.
Yes, I'm so glad you added that last thing. I knew I wanted to be a speaker, and I have to date 5 speaking mentors, one that I'm just finishing up with because they taught me different things, correct? And I presented even before I decided I wanted to be a speaker as a strong speaker. And what I ended up learning was in my admitting I know enough to feel confident on stage, that 5 mentors later, right? Many, many digits of investment later, I realized
Right.
I'm so glad I admitted I didn't know enough. And I didn't know what I didn't know. That's the key.
Right. Right.
What it's done, it's really amplified and actually sped up my speaking abilities to a level I wasn't even aware of, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because we're now nearing almost 100 episodes, and if you were to dial back to episode 1, I was still a strong speaker. However, I've noticed a huge difference in how I convey my message. And so I love this sharing with the audience. I really appreciate this. You may have to just come back, okay? I'm serious. You have to
Yeah,
come back, and we're just gonna have to do a part 2 to this. What do you think?
I'd love to. I'd love to. I think that would be fabulous.
Great, great.
I can never get enough time with you. So if you want to invite me back, you just let me know when, and I'll be here.
Okay, great. Now, my audience members, you're watching this on YouTube, right? The actual YouTube video. And if you would like to post any questions for Helle to answer in the comment section of this episode, feel free to do that, and we'll go back and answer anything for you, okay? Because we really want you, my beloved audience, our beloved audience, to understand how important it is that you're getting answers. There's a reason, again, why you're listening to this particular episode, and we wanted to open door policy and let you understand it's okay to say I don't know. And then we can direct you to where, even if we don't have the answers, we can direct you to where you can get the answers. For example, like the speaking program that she and I are part of. We could refer you there. It's really good. Thank you for coming. We'll see you guys next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?